justice for all.
Okay, roll call please.
Alpha. Here. Walker. Here. Mora. Here. Mason.
Present.
Jackson. Hightower.
Here.
Talbot.
Okay, public participation. Mr. Byrd, is there anyone on that?
There are no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. We ask that the board accept the written correspondence as presented. Your motion? Ms. Walker, roll call please.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. Aye. Mora. Aye. Walker. Aye. Spinoza. Aye.
And we also ask that the board accept the FOIA for Kayla Love and also the thank you card not reproduced from Pat Monty. She's a retired administrative assistant to her husband who passed away. But she said it's a very nice card because we sent an arrangement on behalf of the board. So thank you. Thanks, we appreciate it. And there's no public comment either online or here in the audience. So we're ready to move on to the business. Okay, consider it no business. We ask the board to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of July 28th, 2025, and the closed session meeting of June 23rd, 2025. Get a motion. Mr. Mason and Mr. Powell. Excellent. Roll call, please.
Alpha. Aye. Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Walker. Aye. Mason. Aye. Mora. Aye.
And then for reports for whole business, on behalf as a superintendent, I do have just a brief thing to mention right here. This past Monday, we had our institute day, and we recognized our service staff, and we had 3 staff that reached the 30-year mark, and one of those individuals is actually here. So, so he is entering his 31st year as a board member. So he's now eligible for 30-year pin. What happened was the pins were delayed. Lizette, did they ever get it? But what Lizette did when she told me about it, we talked and she called back and she said to the vendor, I think you need to do something to make this right because people are very excited. Service. That's these little pins that you see some of us wearing. Well, what this person did is they said, okay, and they created a shirt. And it turns out people love this shirt. And so this is the service pin sort of substitute for this year. And it says Berkeley School District 87, and it has kind of a symbol. And on the side, it has the number of years. So here's 30 for Mr. Hightower. And I just want to say what an honor it is to have Mr. Hightower on our board. And to be clear, you have to finish your year. Then you're eligible for the service. So he's actually in his 31st year on the board. If you think about that in terms of volunteering, I volunteer as well. And this is something I've learned that a real volunteer, you're not really a volunteer. So you volunteer and you have no kids or nothing that is going to be benefited by what you do directly. And I volunteer for a baseball program, and I've done, my kids haven't done it for years, but I've just stayed with it. And I have a core group that are like that. And you have not had children in this district. But I want to tell you, as a board president, how thankful I am that you take my calls, give me counsel, and I'm just so proud that you're getting your service pin and you're still with us, Mr. Hightower. Congratulations.
I'm aware of this. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Couldn't have done without your help for all the community. It's been a pleasure being here. Thanks, everybody. Don't keep moving forward and stop aging, okay? Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Great. So be the assistant superintendent.
Okay.
No business. Suggested motion is to approve education, approve the accounts and payable as presented. No questions.
Motion. Jackson, Ms. Walker, roll call please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. Aye. Espinosa. Aye. Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Walker. Aye. Motion carried. Also, the Julie Monteith report provided in the packet and is for your information. Need the other vote.
Sure.
No business.
No business. Any other old business? Okay. Here for the board. Can I get a motion to go into closed session? Ms. Walker and Ms. Moore. Roll call please.
Mason. Aye. Espinosa. Aye. Walker. Aye. Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Motion carried.
They close. We don't want to be.
I have something to report, and I'm just going to pass the notes on to your administrative assistant. Okay. That's it. Great.
Ms. Walker.
Nothing.
Okay. Mr. President here. No facilities updates. Exception else.
No.
Small. Yes. Reports.
Nothing to report outside of was at the back to school events and everything was great at North Lake and obviously the year, but obviously not Riley. Fire trucks, ambulance, police cars, kids all over the place, lots of fun, lots of, excited scholars and parents get their parents back and just the work and the district continues to do just great, together making events for the community. So thank you for everyone that did all of that.
Okay, Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. So for licensed personnel, we ask that the board accept the resignation of the following personnel. Nicole Palmer, social worker at Whittier, effective immediately. Hannah Maines, cross-categorical teacher at Northlake, effective immediately. Taylor Provax, inclusion teacher at MacArthur, effective immediately. And Jelia Lofton, district-wide substitute, effective immediately.
We got a motion. Ms. Jackson and Ms. Walker. Roll call please.
Mora.
Hi.
Mason.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Espinosa.
Hi.
Jackson.
Aye.
Walker. Aye. Motion carried.
A licensed personnel resignation, we ask that the board pass a resolution refusing to concur with teacher Louis Ramos's resignation. Mr. Ramos resigned, but he did so within 30 days of the start of the year. That's the difference with this resignation versus the others. And there's a provision in the Illinois School Code, if somebody resigns within 30 days of the start of the school year, we can ask ISB to hold that teacher's license. I don't know if they actually do it, but I think it's the right thing to do because our student scholars need teachers. It's not so much that somebody leaves, that does happen. People leave for all kinds of reasons. But when it happens with that close to the start of the year, it makes it really hard for our teachers to have a highly qualified teacher, and our kids deserve that. So I would like to read the resolution really quickly and then we can vote on it. So this resignation has to do with the person, Louis Ramos, who was a science teacher employed at MacArthur Middle School. He gave his resignation to the district on August 1st, which is within the 30 days notice as required by the Illinois School Code. And our school term began on August 18th. So that's my issue with this resignation. The board is committed to developing the children and developing our staff. Our school district is here for the instruction of students. The school code provides us the opportunity to do this, and if the state superintendent or their designee finds that a teacher resigned during the school term without the concurrence of the board to accept another teaching assignment, the state superintendent is being asked to suspend that teacher's license. And I wanted to make that clear. What happened here, some of the other resignations, for example, it was a social worker, that person went to work in a hospital. This is somebody who left our district to go work somewhere else in another teaching position, but left us in this circumstance. So we asked that the board refuse to concur with the resignation of Luis Ramos as discussed, and then I will read it if it's okay. So we resolve that we need someone to move this resolution. Okay. We got a motion. We have a motion. Ms. Morrow and Mr. Jackson. And then we go ahead and vote. Okay. Roll call. Okay, roll call.
Espinosa,
Aye.
Walker. Aye. Mora. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Quick question. Let's say I resign, say I'm going into banking, then a month later I jump back into teaching. How do you know?
How would I know? I probably wouldn't know
I think
until we get the faith's law request. Because now we get that in Illinois, if you take another teaching position, I think it's even in a private school. If you had taught before, we'll get the faith's law request. Would you mind saying what that is for everybody?
Faith law verifies that anywhere you've ever worked with children, there was no sexual misconduct. So anywhere you've ever worked, even if it was a camp or anything like that, we're required to ask teachers to fill out a form, and we have to send that form to all of your previous employers. And they are required to send it back to us within 20 days.
And so if we caught that, we would then call our attorney and talk about that resignation, because at the time, we were led to believe they weren't going to another school. But that's a good question. Licensed personnel employments, we ask that the board employ the following licensed personnel effective August 18th, pending all paperwork. Sarah Miller, pre-K social worker, Jefferson and Whittier. Patrick Callahan, science teacher, Northlake. Jeremy Jensen, math teacher, MacArthur. Natalie Clement, inclusion teacher, MacArthur. Catherine Ludisher, math teacher, Northlake. Ryan Brownlow, ELA teacher, MacArthur. Mary Esposito, third grade teacher, Riley. Camilo Isopo Novi, cross-categorical teacher, MacArthur. John Robinson, math teacher, MacArthur. Angela Sebastian, cross-categorical teacher, MacArthur. Emily Cambry, social worker, Whittier. Marquis Collins, licensed district-wide substitute. And correction of lane and step, James Blake, ELA teacher, MacArthur. And approved at the July meeting, we were still missing the lane and step. That was for Ann Gauger, STEM teacher at Northlake, and Anna Correa, bilingual teacher at Jefferson. As presented.
In a motion, Executive Wilson, Ms. Walker. The roll call, please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Walker. Aye. Espinosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Motion carried.
Intent to retire, we ask that the board accept the intent to retire letter of the following personnel: Valerie Paputzis.
In motion. Ms. Walker and Mr. Jackson, roll call, please.
Hightower.
Aye.
Espinosa.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Walker. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Motion carried.
We ask that the board approve the licensed personnel leave request as presented for Joan Jimenez.
Motion. Ms. Moore and Mr. Jackson, roll call, please.
For 1 second. They said August 37, 2025.
Should be August 27th. 2025 is presented. Thank you.
Okay.
Good catch.
So let's try that again. It would be extended bereavement leave from Joan Jimenez, reading specialist at Jefferson, August 18th, 2025 through August 2025. Extended will begin August 21 through August 27, 2025, as presented in the letter dated August 6th. We ask that the board approve the licensed personnel leave request for Ms. Joan Imade.
Okay. Ms. Walker, just, roll call please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Espinosa.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Mora. Walker. Motion carried.
We ask that the board approve the educational support staff leave of absence requests as presented for Kenya Guzman Sandoval, Jasmine Martinez, Lisa Gross, Maria Martinez Morelos, and Ivy Karas.
Motion. Ms. Moore and Ms. Espinosa, roll call please.
Walker. Mason.
Aye.
Espinosa.
Aye.
Mora. Jackson.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And the next one is an example of growing our own again. We ask that the board accept the reassignment of Gabriela Montalongo from cross-categorical teacher assistant to district-wide substitute.
Again. Ms. Espinosa, Mr. Jackson, roll call please.
Mora. Espinosa. Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Walker. Motion carried.
Former North Lake student, by the way. You remember her?
And
You
her
know her from-
son and my son are best friends.
Oh, my
Yeah,
gosh.
they're good
Look
friends.
at
She's a
that.
good woman. She's a good
Oh, yeah.
Roll it in.
Yeah, there we go. Get the ground running. Educational support staff employment, we ask that the board employ the following personnel pending all employment paperwork. Adelina Miranda, Leslie Rodriguez Santiago, Sandy Bell Haro, Jocelyn Ortiz Monroy, and Daniela Cervantes Hernandez.
Get a motion. Ms. Espinosa and Ms. Walker, roll call please.
Hightower.
Aye.
Walker. Jackson.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Mora. Espinosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that,
Can I share? About two of those are former District 87 students as well.
All right.
Yes.
On within. Love it.
we ask that the board accept the resignation of the following personnel: Irina Corona, lunch monitor, North Lake, effective immediately, and Wilbert Lee, special education teacher assistant at MacArthur, effective immediately.
Motion. Ms. Moore and Ms. Walker, roll call please.
Mora. Espinosa.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Walker. Motion carried.
We ask that the board accept the following fundraisers as presented for the Jefferson MacArthur Sunnyside PTO. And they had the back to school bash. This was planned right before the bash. So I wanted to come back and kind of do it retroactively. So we're following our procedures. Northside PTO is also requesting to host 3 events, one at each school. And that's a back to school dance, a glow party at Riley, and Arctic Animals party at Whittier. The PTO is asking permission for a concession stand and some concessions, and then also field day activities as presented.
The motion. Ms. Moore and Ms. Espinosa. Roll call please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Walker. Espinosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then for my oral report, there's just a few things briefly. One is, I think this is good news. Our district and the state has been experiencing a decline in enrollment. So back in about 2017, we had about 750 more kids than we have now. But that's been the case throughout the entire state. The enrollment has been declining. But our enrollment this year is pretty much spot on to where we were last year at this time of the year. So that means that we are stabilizing. And I think that's a credit to a lot of things for that to happen. So for us right now, we are at, as of last week, but I know this has already changed, we're at 2,000 students right now. Last year we ended, it was a little over 2,100. We are going to be at that number or higher again this year. But that matters for us because we have worked hard to address a lot of things when it comes to students feeling that they belong, that they feel connected, our community connections. We know during COVID, there were a lot of issues where people were leaving public schools. But I think it's a credit to our staff, credit to our principals, credit to our administrative team and our board and our families that we are continuing to build a strong connection. And that's our goal for our school improvement, our connected community. So I wanted to mention that. And also, that's kind of related to school finance. So Ms. Dashik and I want to say a few things about school finance real quick. We have some districts near us that are into some very serious financial trouble. And what do I mean by that? That means deficit spending. And I'd like to just explain what that is really quick. So we have reserves here in our district. And whenever your operating budget needs to dip into the reserves to pay your expenses, that's considered deficit spending. So it's not unusual to do that. And we may, and I say may, we may have to do some of that this year. But if we do have to do that, it's going to be a very negligible amount. And it will not require a deficit reduction plan. Irene, could you explain how some districts are facing financial concerns right now?
There are several that are facing that deficit reduction plan. There are some different districts that are $5 million in debts. They're going to be deficit and $5 million. Another one that I just read about today is negative $13 million. Is they continue on this road and financial basically left. We are not going to get that there. We're going to do our best to watch our funds, watch our funding, watch what we're spending in. Sure that this year specifically, we want to make sure that we're going to be purchasing things that we need, at least initially. Where we are with federal funds, with our taxes. And make sure that all of our departments are on board with this. We talked about it. And everyone wants to be successful. And so the government what they need, but a few more time to sit with the ones.
And we know one of the things that we talked about was federal funding. And that has been opening up a little bit. I'm glad to see you to talk to you about that. So thank you for doing that phone call with me. That one time we did, I think back in July or August, maybe that was.
It was late July.
Late July. Because then it was right after you had that call that the federal government changed their position. So well done.
It was us. It was our call.
But I want you to know, because we've been watching Title II, it still hadn't been funded, but then you saw, Kelly, right, that it did get funded.
Yes.
Because that was zero, but now it's been funded. That's kind of what Irene is talking about, because if it's not funded, we still have to do professional development. So we have to figure out how we're still going to do it. So we wanted to mention that now because we're working on our plans. And one of our plans right now that we talked about was any federal funds we are looking to expend before the deadline. That was what we were, that September 1st, they have to be, all the POs are in, and we're doing that. It used to be, we were not worried about that because you could carry over, let's say 10% of your grant. But because times are uncertain, we don't want to rely on that. That's why what you said, what we need, we're going to spend it on, and we're not going to assume the money's still going to be there. That's why that's like one thing we're doing right now. And then we're continuing to watch all of our expenses. Enrollment matters too, because it's called evidence-based funding, but it's basically general state aid. So we get aid from the state. And Irene, you were sharing some of this with me. So for example, with our evidence-based funding, we are considered tier 2. There's a level that you get to. I think it's basically 85%. We're not there yet. So we are considered to be a district that is funded less than what is adequate. So we receive money from the state for that. But that formula takes into account student enrollment. So when our enrollment is stabilizing or going up, we should be receiving more funds for that as well next year. So that's good news. And also our achievement goes up when our students are not only enrolled in the district, but coming to school. And that's another thing that we're working on. So Ms. Dashik and I will talk more about finances throughout the year, but we want to just mention that as a start today. Irene, anything else you want to talk about?
Not fact, our didn't slow down and do her presentation. I just get forward.
Just as we've been, looking at expanding the grants, we've been looking at what we can utilize, any agreements or anything, where the grants will allow us for multi-year. We've tried to do that so that we can see, if something we remove every year, we can get into a multi-year agreement, the grants will allow that. We try to do that to try and insulate potentially any loss of funds. We have things for a couple of years, we're trying to project that forward just in case our funding trails off into the our grants.
Dan, you mentioned working on the plan, so what you just stated, is a part of the plan as well.
Yes.
Okay, so all the teams work together.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with you. Okay.
So let me start with the summary budget statement, position and student activity. And activity report for the period ending July 31st that will provide your information. Next item is a mandatory requirement that we have to have. It's a request to approve our architects, World Architects and Engineers to prepare a 10-year life safety survey and submission. This includes walking through the building, making recommendations for corrective action plans and estimated costs, identifying the urgency into 3 different categories: urgent, required, and recommended, and ensuring that the board for review and approval, and assisting with the submission to this. The total cost is predicted to be of $18,100. And suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the proposal of World Architect and Engineers to conduct a 10-year health and life safety plan and submission for Berkeley School District 87 with a fee of $18,100 is presented.
Get a motion? Ms. Walker and Mr. Jackson, roll call please.
Hightower,
Aye.
Espinosa,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Mason,
Aye.
Warren, Walker, motion carried.
Revisions in front of you are the slides from the provided township school treasurer board meeting. And a key highlight from the meeting is that Cook County, the fact that providing the date for the tax bill will be issued. So that means our tax conditions will be delayed. However, with the addition of 3 new districts of the township, 105, 106, and 107, the township office is in a stronger position to assess the districts that need the funds, because right now they can funds are in a short-term investments for the long term because they just came in. We've also, the township treasurer and I have created a cash flow analysis from until December, because that's when our bonds are due. And that was our biggest concern, was the lack of property taxes. And right now, we may have to borrow from another fund, we may have to look at the cash flow at that time. Hopefully the taxes will be out by then, and we'll be fine. But we do have about $3 million in taxes that need to be paid in December. So let's see how that goes as we wait. But that questions. We're also looking at, as Dr. Sullivan mentioned, that we're all collaborating and we're all being very transparent about the budget. We're asking all the departments to closely monitor their budgets and any kind of savings opportunities that we have. If they're working with vendors, ask for savings, ask for discounts. We're looking at the professional development opportunities. See where we're going to go there. Transportation is one of those things that we don't have a lot of say in, because the transportation costs are what they are. And we have strength for our students. The operations maintenance department has their own plan for cost savings, which I can talk a little bit about when we get to that. And, so we're working for it.
It's subject to close. The reason I did have a conversation with our auditor firm today.
Oh, great.
So that was part of the conversation and reach out to what you're doing right now. Thank you. We need to control costs. We'll go back to the comment about all the grants we on. That was the conversation the auditor just morning. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Okay, it's very important. And it's really good that this is in a pretty good shape. Even though we're gonna move monies around, stay afloat, that's okay. Let's make sure we manage this fund as best we can. Okay, that was the conversation this morning. I want you to set this close. Okay. Okay. Okay, Tanya, you in, I want you to talk about grants as well.
Okay, sure. So, we have been working with, trying to look at any recurring, renewals, like for our digital platforms. We tried to, where we can have multi-year subscriptions, we have tried to procure those. And Joe did a fantastic job working with our vendors to look at what are the costs and how can we lower the costs as we went into those multi-year renewals. So we tried, because we had the resources this year in our school improvement grant, so we were able to do that. And that afforded us really an opportunity for almost all of them, especially our ones that are a little more costly, like for our ELA curriculum, for example. That's probably the one that is our most that's most expensive. So we were able to do a 3-year renewal for that and several of our other digital platforms. And the other thing that we try to think ahead is looking at where our ELA data, where our student growth has been, to project. So our students are level and where their levels have been going in terms of their reading data. We try to project where they might be in the next year to 2 years and getting additional libraries to meet those needs. And we have students that are using it now. We've added some additional ones using this program funds, so we'll have some additional books that we next year and next year. So that was able to do some of that for us as well. So our kids will use them this year as well, but we added more. That I'm thinking ahead where we will be a year from now. Here, we did the same thing for professional development. So in our long-term professional development goals, where are the pieces that we can build upon and then continue to grow in those areas and have those resources available to us, because we had some additional funding right now. So those allow us as we're thinking about where we the funds we currently have and knowing where we're going to go and not knowing necessarily what's coming ahead. We're required to cast. So the materials that we're purchasing right now sustain us through the next couple of years of our goals that we have. Title I, our Title II has been populated. So that was about $84,000 back added into our title grant. So I did work on the grant over the weekend. So that is ready to be approved for the 25-26 school year. So that was good news. Title III, also those funds became available. That was about $72,000. So I was starting to work on that grant. So some additional funds back in our person weren't expecting. So when I did our local curriculum budget, those were some contingencies that we had built in, some things that are not typically my local budget, but local ones that are some things I talked to you about this. Now I just have to move those out of local to put back in grant. So there's some tweaking through that lens as well, from a perspective. Squeeze every dime out of the $100 as we can right now.
How we doing with food, grants?
So we what?
Going to food conversation, okay, with that? Okay, with that?
Yeah, they've not come down. Yeah. So I think we're about, for title, we're about where we started last year. For title one, student title four. So we're not even from last year right now.
Now, we're talking openly to the public about funding, we talk about what we're doing for this cost savings. It's very important, this community, this is community. Buy this, because we know we're gonna have some tough times ahead. So in order to do this, to make it be effective, this group in the audience, we're gonna make it happen. Issue 87 is on a positive trend to make it happen. Saying it's what John, what that Dan, John, hit the road, running,
Hit the ground running.
hit the ground running, hit the ground running, okay, so we all working together. Make sure you bring it to the board, so we can talk about it. Everything is not gonna be possible. Okay. So, keep it going. Anything else? Anything else?
My report on the state of Illinois has been changing and Joe can pull up. I just wanted to quickly, I put together just a quick slideshow because I thought visual might be better. So the state is changing their accountability system and their benchmarks for accountability, called better systems for better outcomes. And I wanted to kind of give you a quick just overview because they're going to be moving to that and changing to this new system as we start getting our IAR data, our new Illinois report card, all of that's going to come into play in the next about 6 weeks. So they just released this August 13th. And so I want to make sure that you all got this information. So they've been working on this new system for about a year, about 18 months actually. So the problem has been in Illinois is that we needed to right size, as Tony Sanders said, our proficiency levels on our state assessments. So for years, the state of Illinois has been giving the wrong message to our students, families, and educators. Because our proficiency rates and our state assessments do not match up to the realities in our classrooms. So what I mean by that is our proficiency benchmarks for our state assessment are among the most restrictive. So ELA is among the most restrictive in the country. The result of that is that we've mislabeled high achieving college ready students as not proficient. In 4th grade, for example, we have the most difficult to reach benchmarks in the nation, according to the National Assessment for Educative Progress, the NAEP assessment. And for every other grade and subject, our proficiency benchmarks are among the top 4 restrictive. And so when you, on our SAT, so when we chose to move to the SAT, Illinois set their benchmarks. So when they said, what's proficient in the state of Illinois? We said, the college board said this is what's proficient, but the state of Illinois said it's 60 points higher than the college board for SAT and 10 points higher in math. So we've had some mismatching across the state of Illinois for a long time. And we've known this as educators. And we're like, we have all these students in AYP, with advanced placement courses. We have all of kids getting these scores on SAT, but yet they're not passing our state assessment in ELA and math. Now, in science, we've had the reverse. We were forced to make the state was forced to make decisions around what was considered proficient in 2021, which was the height of COVID. Not a lot of our students participated, and so is the federal government denied ISB's request to change for more time to determine the proficiency scores. So they went with what was for COVID, so then they were too low. So Dr. Sanders has been trying to balance this out. get it realigned for us in the state, for the last 18 months, like 2 years as state superintendent. So it's been part of his key focus. So what did that tell us? Proficiency rates have reflected what our students are doing in the state of Illinois. We have about 2/3 of our students enrolling in colleges, but if you look at the blue, that's 11th grade English, 11th math, and then science. So you see 30% roughly are proficient in ELA and 11% are proficient in math, but really high in science. But look at the percentage in green of our students that are enrolling in college. So he set out to balance this. And so the other thing is that all of those assessments give another performance level. So I'm gonna say proficient, low proficient, approaching. So the other piece was aligning all of what these definitions mean by performance levels and proficiencies. So when you get your students' performance levels, it's gonna all be aligned to the same language moving forward. So for parents, that will help us. So why do those matter? It helps give us, as IFB, to track how the schools, identify schools for additional support, track the progress of proficiency over time. For our schools, it helps us improve teaching and learning. And for families, it helps the families understand what students are doing. And there'll be one aligned system across all the assessments for all schools in the state of Illinois and for all assessments. So it will give us, they'll still give us, so what is that proficiency? What does proficiency impact? It impacts the results that you get on your individual student reports. It also impacts the data that's on the Illinois School Report Card. It impacts our accountability designations, whether we're commendable, whether we're targeted, exemplary. It also impacts students identified for acceleration. For AP courses, accelerated math, accelerated courses. So it has some real world consequences. So they looked at, as part of this process, these are some examples from actual students. I just put a couple of them. For example, a student in Naperville High School, 3.9 GPA, 7 AP courses, 2 industry certifications, their basketball competitive band, marching, volunteering. However, on the SAT, they got a 490 and a 530. But by our proficiency benchmarks in Illinois, they're labeled not proficient. There's another student from Liberty High School there. When you think about those first categories that I read off, you would think, gosh, they're a pretty proficient student. That's an ideal student. You would think they're what we're looking for, right? But they're not proficient by how we defined it. Yes.
A lot of the girls, my daughter's basketball team are going to college of business now, and they're not even care. They're going on grade point average.
Yep, they are. It depends on the, so depending on the school that you go to, many of them are going back to needing ACT and SAT scores. So they went away from it for several years, and now many of them are going back to that as a requirement to admissions. So it depends on the school, it depends on the state, it depends on,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Every point she's going.
Yes, exactly, that's right. So, and same thing with Liberty High School student here. And one of the things that, Dr. Sanders, one of the things he pointed out in this conversation or this webinar was, thank goodness that these students did listen to us in the state of Illinois and say, you're not proficient. And how many other students did think maybe they weren't proficient and didn't go on to secondary, post-high school because of not feeling like maybe they weren't as successful as students. So, we're giving mislabeled misinformation to our students. So there's some real world consequences for having these proficiency levels be mismatched. This is one of the most interesting things that I never knew, is that when I talked about being most restrictive. So this chart shows the estimated score that a student on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, the NAEP scores. When you hear in the news, like NAEP scores came out, the NAEP scores came out. This is all the states. See where that blue arrow is? So that is Illinois. That's what an Illinois student needs to be to score proficient on our local assessment. So the NAEP proficient there is 250, where that gray box is. To be in Illinois, you have to score proficient, you are above the gray box. So we are the most difficult, for most restricted ELA and math proficiency, so above what is considered that the NAEP, for every other state, we have the hardest scores above every other state in the country. So I thought that was really, I just didn't even know that, so I was listening to this, but I thought that was really interesting. Which again, so the goal is to give us a better and more accurate picture of what our students are able to do. So this is how the performance levels is going to change. The top one is where they currently are for IR, ISA, and for SAT. So right now it's meets and exceeds. ISA is proficient, exemplary, developing, emerging, and then SAT or partially approaching these. So that's very confusing for families especially, and for teachers to know it's apples, it's oranges, it's pineapples, like who knows? And so under the unified performance levels, they're all going to be the same. Low proficient, approaching proficient, proficient, and above proficient. And so the other piece that's going to happen is they recalibrated all of those proficiency benchmarks. So you see in the old ELA, it was 750 for grades 3 through 8. Now they've recalibrated this. They did this with the Center of Assessment and over a study of the last 18 months. And so all of our cut scores for ELA and math have now changed. They have been recalibrated, and so have science. That will be applied to the IAR tests that our students took last spring. So we've gotten our preliminary scores, we've looked at them, we got them in June, and now these new cut scores are going to be applied to them, and that will happen when everything comes out in October, and that's how we'll receive our new summative designations. We'll be using these cut scores and this information, and through this new designation. That's the rationale for why they realigned all of these, did all of this work to figure out and make this system more balanced and aligned for all of our scholars, and give them a message that is in alignment with really college and career readiness standards based on the SAT, ACT, and really those readiness standards. So go to the next slide. This is going to give more a truer picture. Here's 2024 and then 2025 with the recommended benchmarks. When we did our data, our preliminary scores, it's about a 10% increase in proficiency overall, and by each grade level for us, and about an 8% decrease in science. So it's about true with exactly what they're predicting from this information. So that's kind of where we're at. Everything will be released in October along with the report card data and our summative designations. But I wanted to give you kind of an overview because it just an overview. It was just released a couple weeks ago, and we'll continue to learn more and talk more with our staff. And then this, what I handed you is the document that they put together for families to public plan. So we'll start getting them out to our families so that they have a good understanding what things mean if they're just store reports and things. Questions for me? That was a lot of information in a short amount of time. We'll continue to talk through this as we learn more about different states.
Okay. I mean, I think people, you have more.
Oh, that was about it, the one about providing gotcha. Thank you.
Anything else?
I had one more thing, and I 30 seconds. We had a fantastic new staff orientation. I just want to thank the leadership at MacArthur and at Sunnyside for always being gracious, and we just kind of take over their buildings, and so I always appreciate that so much, because I know that can be really hard when they're trying to get ready for school as well. I also wanted to thank our John and his team, Teresa Gargano, and they did a wonderful job getting everything we needed set up. And kudos to our professional services, Steve Keating and Marcus Shelton. They did an amazing job making sure fresh, warm breakfast and treated our staff, our new staff, very well, and really helpful to me and to all of our curriculum team. And I cannot say enough about the wonderful, amazing new staff we have joining Berkeley 87. They were fantastic. We had a great week together. I so enjoyed getting to know all of them. So our principals did an amazing job, and Mrs. Travis did an awesome job as well, getting all of them up and running and into orientation as quickly as possible. So really had a great week. So thank you, everyone. Okay.
Good job. Good report. Both ways. Thank you. Ms. Travis, you got an excellent report, right?
You know, the report looks the best that it had looked in a long time. Because certified staff vacancies is always in the teens, and tonight it's in the single digits. I'm going to report out 8, but it's really 6 because 2 will be approved in September. So really, we have 6 vacancies for certified staff at this time. And, you know, even though it's 6, that is a really great number, because last year I think it was like 18, 21. So I am happy to say 6 with all of our principals and us coming together, hard work. So we still want to keep working on them, but that's a great number, 6 certified staff. And if I could really say, 1 is bilingual, 1 is the late resignation in science that we had, and 4 are special education. So when we did find special education teachers, we did have some new people that we hired, 2 special ed that resigned right before school started. Otherwise, it would have been 2 special education teachers that we still needed. So yes, so I'm very happy about that. Now, support staff is 11 vacancies, but we have some custodians to hire, maintenance. And then we added 2 pre-K teacher assistants. And so and then a teacher assistant is on leave. So it's 11 vacancies, but support staff, we normally can find them. So I'm sure that number will decrease. So, and then district-wide subs, we filled them all tonight. So no more district-wide subs. So that's great with our vacancies. I'm really happy about that. We will be hosting a flu shot clinic again. That's going to be October 15th, and it'll be here. So I'll share the information with our staff. Generally, they, are asking me, so we set it up last year when we had it to have it this year, October 15th. And we usually have about anywhere from 40 to 60 staff members that attend. So that's really great. And then we've already signed up for Illinois State Fall Career Fair so that we can try to meet and catch some candidates who will be graduating in December. Last year, I think we hired 2 candidates from Illinois State Fall Career Fair, and 1 was our former student who is now, she'll be teaching at Whittier School. She graduated last December, served in a leave of absence position for us, and that teacher was also retiring, and so now she's a first grade teacher at Whittier. So hopefully we can find some special education candidates or a science candidate if we don't find one before then. So really excited. Any questions?
Ms. Travis, if my calculation is correct, you reported out 5 in-house new hires, right? 5 teachers, new hires, overall.
From Berkeley 87. Really, it's a little, maybe
That's reported out tonight.
Reported out tonight. Yeah, 4.
4.
Mhm.
Anyway, great job. Joe, I know you have Beautiful as well.
Sure do, yeah.
Great job. Nothing like when
Absolutely. Yeah, we keep seeing them, we keep meeting them. Some of them are becoming teachers, some of your teacher assistants went to school here. They are really excited about both campuses. One student told me she went to North Lake and Riley, and she was excited. Another one went to Sunnyside MacArthur, and they are so excited about what's going on. And then we've met some students who are from MacArthur, and they have like this annual MacArthur reunion, and I think someone was encouraging them to have it here. And, you know, you should come to the new MacArthur and try to have it here, and it's like, that's a great idea, so a lot of students coming back, but the teacher assistants, they're going to school to be teachers, and I'm like, come on and teach.
Come on.
Yeah, very excited.
Great job. I see a
Yes,
smile on your face. Great
yeah,
job.
very excited.
Okay. Let's shift around. Guess what? You're up.
I've been waiting for my opportunity. As Mrs. Zimmerman reported, which had 3 grant funded, so that's a very big relief. Working on that, adult ESL is gonna start. It's gonna be on both sides of the district again. It'll be on Tuesday nights at Whittier from 5:30 to 7:30. And it'll be on Wednesday nights at Jefferson from 5:30 to 7:30. And it's just about fully staffed. I think we only have about 3 positions left. So very excited about that. Gonna get the EPM up and running. And I'm really excited because for the first time since I've been in this role, North Lake has 2 multilingual specialists, so thank you, Captain Cody. Met with them, they're very excited to be a part of our district. And we're working on a plan to help our scholars with the same at Arthur and across the district, so we're up and running and it's gonna be a great year.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Burke, you're gonna take it.
Oh, the school year's off to a good start. The focus has been just getting all of our students, our teachers, all of our building technology in a good place to start the school year. So a lot of running around from school to school, but we're off to a good start. As Dr. Sullivan, you mentioned Goal 4 Connect Community. So our new communication tool, Parent Square, is what we launched this school year. So our principals have done a great job, our assistant principals, Dr. Sullivan, been sending out some messages to better communicate with our families. And I just looked into the system. So about half of our families, I should say half of our guardians, so much more than half of our families, install the Parent Square app. And it's a free app. When you do it, you can RSVP to events. You can choose how to get your communication, whether it's on demand or they call it daily digest, so 1 communication a day. Even if you've got 10 communications from your school, you can give 1 daily digest at a certain time to help kind of streamline how you want the communication. With the app, you can auto-translate all the communication to the language of your choice. You could message your teachers and have that one-on-one dialogue. So a lot of great features. So over half of our guardians have installed the app. We have sent out about 3,500 messages with Parent Square, and that's in about less than a week of school. Our teachers and principals have done about 350 posts. We have uploaded about 400 pictures or videos, and about 800 families have interacted with the post. So what an interaction means is they have appreciated a post, they've RSVP'd to an event, or they've commented as well. So we're only about 4 days into education, or school this school year, and a lot of interaction with it. And to reiterate, the catalyst for this is to build stronger relationship in District 87 and our families. Hopefully make communication a little easier for our teachers and building administrators and central office. So I think we're off to a good start, but I think a ways to go still to maximize the potential of the school and again strengthen those relationships.
Good job. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Okay. Mr. David, John.
So it's been a little bit busy month for us. We are gonna be, posting the 3 vehicles, for sale. We're gonna do a sealed bid for them. We're gonna have that, begin on September 2nd, and it's then on September 30th at 1 o'clock. And then October 1st, we'll the bids, and then, the first will be notified. We're gonna kind of put the flyer in the office, the stores, things like that, to kind of get word out for those. Both soccer fields have been painted, one at Arthur, one at North Lake. I believe you guys have the tryout starting tomorrow. So we're gonna continue on with painting those fields throughout the season. The facilities department transitioned to a new work order platform to be more aligned with the technology department. It's gonna, increase our communication with all the staff, for the main side of things for us. And it's also gonna allow us to have quicker response times and support flow for us. We're gonna be transferring a couple of individuals from one building to another here in the next month or so. And then we have been working on a pretty big, potential lighting energy savings project. I know that sorry that kind of mentioned it. But basically for at Jefferson, Whittier, and then here our admin building, there's an opportunity for us to replace all the current light fixtures with LED fixtures. So it's going to be much more energy efficient for us. ComEd is also offering some pretty aggressive rebates and incentives for us. Just some, quick rough numbers for us. Basically, Whittier Jefferson would cost the same, pre-rebate, and each of those buildings would have been $109,000 each to replace the light fixtures. And then here at the admin, it was going to be around $38,000, so that whole project would have been $256,000. With the energy rebates from ComEd, roughly Jefferson and Whittier, those rebates total in the amount of $70,000 per building. So we bring that project cost from like $109,000 down to about $39,000. And then here we dropped the price from about $38,000 to $14,000. And then also there's a school maintenance project grant available. So we're gonna apply for that. It's a 50-50, matching funds grant, which could drop the overall cost of the project to $46,000 to do all the lighting across those 3 buildings. So to go from $256,000 project to $46,000, it's a pretty big savings for us. And then it would save roughly 450,000 kilowatt hours per year. And then we would actually see our investment back in around a year, maybe a little less. Savings. So after roughly 5 years or so, we'd save about $275,000. And then after 10 years, about $550,000. So it's like roughly $55,000 savings per year that we could start, taking advantage of. By just replacing some light fixtures for us. So that's all I got for you guys.
Well, that's enough. We appreciate that. You have really hit the ground running. Thank you. You're taking our model serious. What is it? Some model.
Hit the ground running.
Hit the ground running. All right. Thanks, John. Anything else? No, that's it. No? All right. Moving right along. Dr. Stafford, you're up.
So as this chart said, we do still have some openings. We do have an opening still for a floater nurse position. We have seen an increase this year in the number of students that have medical needs, especially diabetes is this year. But our nurses are prepared for that. We do not have applications as platforms that the nurses and teachers use for students with different types of needs, but working together with nurse teams to fill that position so that children are taken care of, especially in the needs that we have now. And for preschool, yes, we were with that grant able to have additional assistance in the schools. And those classrooms got to be welcoming for all of our children and all of their needs and supporting. So within our positions, coordinators, social people. And then we have some students on our McKinney-Vento. I know some of you live in this area and are aware that some houses are flooded. But after kind of getting our students enrolled, we learned this last week that we have several families that have been impacted by flooding and have been displaced. They're working either with community resources or just with other families or whatever. So we're just working together with our counselors, especially to work on that. We haven't seen something to that degree. We've had maybe a family that's displaced with the fires, but now we have several families that were impacted by this flood. So we're just kind of coming together with the week this week to pull together other resources for some of those families. It's impacted by food. I didn't really know that. And then people were impacted. Our students were impacted. And like everyone was saying, working together on being fiscally responsible with our budgets, and we worked last year with our consultant group who looked into our programming and also looked into our finances. And I met with Irene and Dr. Sullivan and I to kind of summarize some of their findings, and then we're going to be meeting again to pull those together for you, share those with you, and then talk about some next steps and looking at more financial things that we could be looking at programming for special education.
Any safety concerns you see?
So safety wise, it's been, I would say the bash was absolutely wonderful. That's why you have in front of you some safety things. We were able to work with our nurses. Ms. Zimmerman was taking over at the north side, and I helped her at the south side. We wanted to make sure our families understood all the things we're doing for safety, understand our threat assessments, understand the training we're doing for our teachers, and then the materials that we're doing for our children. And the parents loved it. In fact, they wanted to take the books that I had for the teachers. Because I wanted to show them the books we use and the stories we read, and the puzzles and the games. They wanted to take them. But that's great. They wanted to know, like, how are we teaching our children to be safe? And we showed them some of the supplies that we have in the classrooms and the materials that we're using, and they were just very, very, had a lot of great questions and very interested in that topic. So that was just a wonderful experience, and the nurses then were also talking about safety and health, and we were able to share with them, the little things here to keep them safe at home. So you guys have one in front of you too.
Any questions for anybody? Dr. Modi, you're up.
Just feedback on safety. We had a really great first school. We had our fire drill right in North Lake on Friday, went really well. We're gonna do our Alice drill this Friday, so 2 drills right away, right off the bat. I want to commend. I know we had a lot of new staff. They talked about how hospitable it was during new teacher orientation. The food was just amazing. We had Institute Day, and the food service was just you could not even like a 5-star restaurant. It was just amazing. They had cutting stations, and it was great. And then I want to thank Mrs. Moore, you were there. Mrs. Esmeralda, you were there at our back to school batch. It was really just well done. Gave out 200 backpacks to our scholars and all kinds of goodies this year. Just excited about the new staff, just bringing some fresh energy that we wanted for a long time. So I'm excited about that. And then soccer tryouts as well. We've been waiting a long time. And then first game, soccer tryouts for 8th grade tomorrow are at 3:15 until 4:30, and then our first game is going to be on September 12th right here at McCarthy. So So they'll be hosting home games both for North Lake and Park Mission.
What time, Dr. Moody?
Tomorrow, Friday,
No, September 12th.
September 12th, the first game will start at 4:30. Followed by the varsity fight.
Back to facilities. Did we have any rain, heavy rain we had a couple weeks ago last week? Did anything hit McCall up in North Lake?
No, some of the remediation efforts that we put in over there.
So it's working?
Water.
Any other?
I'm excited for the year.
I'm excited too.
Round running.
Yeah, hit the ground running. Yeah, I mean, you guys have done a really good job. Thank you. I'm trying to open the schools on time, but the food that I missed, I mean, I'm sorry.
They're amazing.
Yeah. But, any questions from the board? Questions? Questions? All right. We'll run along. Oh, yeah. Any other new business?
No new business.
No? Announcements for the next board meeting, Dennis?
September 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, that's right. And Dennis, you good.
I will not be here next month.
Well,
Just letting everybody know, I will be traveling.
we did phone contact? In case
If
we need your.
I can do anything for you, I will call, blah, blah, you call me.
Okay, get a motion to adjourn? Second motion, Mr. Jackson. Roll call, please.
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Mason,
Aye.
Ora,
I
Walker, Spinoza, motion carried.
Thanks, everyone. Have a safe evening and rest of the month. Labor Day next week, right?
Yes.
Safe Labor Day as well.
Thank you, sir.
You.